Thank you very much, Vasan, and good afternoon, everyone. It is my absolute pleasure to be with you this afternoon to host this session. So, first of all, on behalf of Maca, it is my pleasure to also, along with Vasan, welcome you warmly to this session this afternoon. And talking about warmth, I think the weather is getting warmer and warmer, as you can imagine, and it's getting brighter. So it's nice, and hope we can have more and more warm weather, and also, we can get over this COVID hump that we are all into. I think, as they say, it becomes worse before it becomes better. So probably we are going through that, and hopefully we'll be out of this and fully vaccinated, and we can get back to absolute normal life. So I'm delighted to be your host for this session, and I thank Vasan and the Maca officials to have invited me to spend some time with you this afternoon. So before we go further, I would like to request you to on a couple of things. One, please mute your audio button so that you can always unmute it later when you have to ask a question, etc. And keep your video on if at all possible. Really appreciate if you can keep your video on so that we have the real experience of seeing you or talking to you. And the excellent speakers we have for this afternoon will also have the same pleasure of talking to you, talking to an audience, as opposed to talking to a blank screen with full of names. So please open up your video. And if there are some very practical constraints why you cannot open up, we can understand, but it's a request at you. Now, we have the benefit of 3 different organizations addressing us today. And, as all of you are either job seekers, or you're moving from job A to job B, and you're between jobs, or you're trying to settle in this lovely country with a better footing and make a head start in your life in Canada. These 3 organizations that are going to talk to us today will be immensely helpful, and hopefully you can take lots of things away from this afternoon session. And we hope that the session and programming will really benefit your personal objectives and aspirations. Now, these 3 companies come from completely diverse sectors, and I will go through them one by one. I mean, we have the Indus Community Services, which is set up in the community service. It's a community service organization that I have myself known in Canada. And then we have the J&M Group, which is more in the IT consulting space. And then we have MCIS, which is more in the language services space. So we'll go into the details of those companies shortly. But what we are going to do this afternoon is we are going to have 4 segments in total. The total time that we expect this session to be, it's about approximately 2 hours. So we started at 3 o'clock. We plan to go up to about 5. And in the 4 segments, we will have the 3 companies talking in the 3 segments. Each segment is approximately about 30 minutes long, 20 minutes for the individuals from the organization to give a presentation about their organization, what they do, their experience, their tips to you for success, and so on. And then remaining 10 minutes will be allocated to them for Q&A, so you can ask questions at the time. So 20 plus 10, so that's 30-minute slot. So 3 times 30 is 1.5 hours. So for the 3 companies. And then we are left with about 15 minutes towards the end, where I will be facilitating a general open Q&A session, where any questions that you felt that you wanted to ask them, could not ask, or something outside of what they presented to you, you can ask me as it relates to job search and your settlement in Canada, and I will try to do my best to answer those questions. From my own background, so as Vasan mentioned, I have mentored over 500 individuals to get their first job in Canada. So I've been in this for almost like 15 years. I myself came to Canada about 23 years ago, and I think it's been it's a lovely experience so far in this country. And all I can tell you is all of you will be very well settled. You will have more than one job, and you'll have to choose the job. You will have very good settlement in this place, and you'll all do very, very well. Coming from the countries you come in with all the experiences and education that you have from your home country, you will settle very well and you'll do very well. That's the history that I've seen time and again. So I can assure you that, and hopefully that gives you sort of the motivation and confidence to launch your journey forward. Now, so essentially, I also wanted to mention to you that even though the 10 minutes towards the end of each segment will be for Q&A, so 20 plus 10, I remember what I told. So out of the 10 minutes, you can actually queue up your questions using the chat feature. So Praveen here has kindly enabled the chat feature for you this afternoon. So you can actually use the chat feature to log in your questions so that the questions can be coming even while the individual organizations are addressing you, so that we can have a bunch of questions even when they finish at the 20th minute to deal with the questions in the remaining 10 minutes. So that way it's easier for you, easier for us, and we will have a very efficient use of time, right? So hope that that works for everyone. So without further delay, I wanted to move into the first segment. The first segment is we are going to have a presentation from Indus Community Services, and we have the pleasure of Meenakshi Krishnan here from Indus Services, who is going to address us. Indus Community Services is a community service organization. It was earlier called India Rainbow. We all used to know it as India Rainbow. They provide culturally appropriate services for newcomers, families, women, seniors, and they are basically accredited organization. They basically got the card for the Commission of Accreditation and Rehabilitation Facilities. They basically have that gold seal, which basically tells you something about the quality and responsiveness of the services that they provide. So they're not in this business for a short term. They're here for the longer term. They have been in this space for quite some time in a very reputed organization. And they offer a tremendous amount of services for the settlement of newcomers. And we'll hear more about that from Meenakshi Krishnan, who is here. Now, Meenakshi Krishnan has been with this organization for more than 11 years, but for the last 7 years, she has spent in mentoring newcomers, providing them feedback on the resumes, helping them with the first job application process and things of that nature, aligning them with the industry in Canada in terms of how they can align their job search and things of that nature for the last 7 years. And she has dealt with a number of people like you. So she has that experience to, from that, she will be talking to you and offering you some tips for your own journey. Now, the more important thing for me when I read her resume is that in this day and age of COVID, where you're really not having that direct physical connection to be face-to-face with your employers or potential individuals who can help you in the social circles to introduce you to others, she has actually done a virtual career fair. In the virtual career fair, you can actually use video as a media to really meet with employers, meet with other job seekers, meet with potential mentors or others who can help you in your job search journey. So she has actually pioneered the virtual career fair, and I would like to hear more from her about it for your benefit as well. So without further delay, it is my absolute pleasure to thank Mrs. Meenakshi Krishnan and invite her to speak to you. And the floor is now yours, Meenakshi.
Thank you so much, Bhaskaran, for introducing and the opportunity. And I will be sharing my screen. And in the first few minutes, I would like to say, I would just like to speak about Indus Community Services, the amazing work we do across all our 6 locations. So just bear with me for the first 5 minutes of Indus Community Services, which I would really like to share important piece. And then I'll come back to a short description about employment services, the programs we offer, and the job search component, how you can actually take advantage. So I'll just go ahead, give me a moment.
Thank you. You can put it in full screen mode, Meenakshi, that'll be good.
Yeah, just hold on, okay? Just give me a second. Just give me a second. All good now?
Yeah, good.
Okay, so as Bhaskaran introduced me, my name is Meenakshi Krishnan, and I'm an employment counselor with Indus Community Services for the past 12 years, almost close to 12 years. I've been with Indus and in settlement and employment for the past 7 years or so, 8th year. He also mentioned Indus Community Services. We started as India Rainbow Community Services. We have been in the community for the last 35 years. As you know, we are a community benefit organization focused on building resilient and healthy communities by offering person-centered, anti-oppressive programs and services. Some of the core programs we offer are newcomer services. Under newcomer services, as you all know, being a newcomer to Canada is the most difficult journey. So connecting you with the right referrals, the right community agencies, providing you that information. We provide free language training. We have morning and afternoon classes from 3 of our locations. Employment services, I will be coming in detail on my next slide. But community connections, connecting you to the community, especially for newcomers. We also offer entrepreneurship programs for newcomers. Currently, it is under sewing. So if you know the sewing machine, the sewing program, we are running a internship program. If you would be interested, you can connect with us. We serve actually people from all immigrant categories, from PR holders, convention refugees, refugee claimants, citizens, international students, temporary work permit holders. So get in touch with us. No matter what immigrant category you come from, get in touch with us. Family services, we have services to serve children, youth, we have parenting programs, we have community mental health workers in the community who work with you, family court support workers. We have special advocacy counseling program for women, empowerment women. Health services is also a big chunk of our services. We provide adult day services, senior wellness programs. We have friendly visiting programs, caregiver support groups for adult seniors, assisted bathing. All these programs, if you go to our website, you will be able to read in detail about all our programs. That's the best way to know more about Indus Community Services. And getting involved with Indus is you could do it through volunteering with Indus. You could do in partnership with Volunteer MBC, which is Mississauga, Brampton, Caledon area. We have partnership with them too. If you are a student who are studying and need to complete your placement hours, you can also connect with Indus to complete your placement hours in the respective department. Now, one more thing I wanted to share today is we are also into seniors long-term care, housing, home and housing. So Indus Community Services has been approved for a 192-bed long-term care facility in Brampton. This will be a new home, will be built over 4-5 years, and it is specifically culturally appropriate for the South Asian community in Peel. We were also granted in 2018, we were approved for 128 beds for the South Asian seniors in partnership. And there are 2 other funding which are in process for other regions. So you will know soon on the news whenever something gets approved and the outcome of it. Today, because we're here for the job workshop, so I wanted to talk about the employment services, what we offer at Indus. We offer individual counseling. So basically, whether you're a newcomer, you're looking for a job, or you're a career changer, or you're an international student working on a postgraduate work permit, be it whatever particular category or whatever help you're looking for. So we offer one-on-one individual counseling. We provide job search training from, they could be information workshops like the one I'm doing today is just for 15 minutes, but normally it could range anywhere from 1 hour to 3 hours. And that also on a particular topic. So these are individual topics what we cover during workshops. So we could help you with your resume and cover letters. We could help you, coach you for interviews, mock interviews. From time to time, we arrange workshops in partnership with other agency. For example, we are doing one which is coming up on 29th, is with RBC. It's a fireside chat. So anybody interested can go on our website and you can go and register through the flyer. Otherwise, let me know and I can pass on the information. We have job fairs, and especially during COVID-19, we are having job fairs, employment week, which run throughout the week. So the one is coming up in May. We also offer networking opportunities in partnership with employers. And as I mentioned, the entrepreneurship program for newcomers, what we are running currently on sewing. So sometimes it's on different areas, different professions. Some of the statistics I just wanted to quickly show you that these are some of the 2019-2020 statistics. The one for 2020-2021 are still under, they are still being prepared because we just finished our AGM comes up normally in June, so it will be done up around that time. So this is some of a snapshot of what all we do, serving newcomers, training sessions, seniors, language training, so on and so forth. These are some of our main partners. We are funded by all three levels of the government, federal, provincial, and municipal, and by United Way Toronto, Region of Peel. We have the city, we have individual donors. So we have been in the in the community for 35 years and still going strong, very strong. So these are a few of the locations, and every location, what services we offer: Mississauga, Oakville, and Brampton. Another thing I wanted to share is a new partnership. This is with Punjabi Community Health Services and a Council of Agencies serving South Asians. So we are in partnership. This website has been launched, Apna Health, and anybody who needs help during COVID-19, whether it is food packages or it's financial or it's medical assistant, you can visit our website, you can connect with us, you can call us. All the flyers, all the information is available in all languages. So absolutely reach out. We speak multiple languages. So today is not taking more time of you. I wanted to say today's topic, I just wanted to cover in general as a whole. This is just a general. If you're looking for individual workshops, please connect with us. We do monthly workshops. So each topic is over a period of 1 month, 1 hour to 3 hours. But this is just overall I want to cover. So as a newcomer or as a career changer, it's very important that you draft a checklist or to-do list, what you want to do regarding your job or regarding upgrading your skills, education. Study the labor market. What does the labor market say? I will show another slide in detail also, but these are just points. Create your short-term and long-term goals. So maybe long-term, you've come here as a psychologist, but till the time you cannot practice, what's your short-term goal? Immediately, what would you like to do? Identify your skill sets, whether be technical for the job, or you're looking at soft skills, which could be taking you across the board for any profession, or you're looking for transferable in the meantime till you find a full-time employment in your profession. Network with people. So today what you're doing, attending this workshop is a great way of networking. You're getting to meet people like you. You're getting to meet the panelists, the hosts, different agencies. Look for volunteering opportunities and find a mentor if possible. So these are some of the few steps you can follow as to start with. Now coming to, and the best thing is that there are agencies around your area which can offer you this help for free. So in the Peel region, we are there in Mississauga, Brampton, and Oakville. Similar to this in your area, even if you're living in Toronto, in Scarborough, or you're joining in today from another city. Please explore your area for local community agencies. You schedule an appointment with a career or employment counselor or a job developer. They guide you through your resumes, job searching, skills training, mock interviews, volunteering. Even at Indus, we are a team of 6 people. So we have job developers and employment counselors working. So you can connect with any agency, you can connect with Indus, and we can, even if we are not offering that service, we could actually refer you to another agency. Now, the important part of whether continuing education or you're looking for a job is knowing what is your career path for that particular job. And that means a lot of research. Researching your profession, whether it's regulated by the industry or it's non-regulated, do you need any licensing or certification? Or do you need any training to reach there? Are there any specific skills which you don't have, you need to acquire? Are there any specific job titles which are used for this particular profession? It may be a different job title from your home country. So how would you take care of that? So look for alternate job titles. Look for employers who are hiring for that particular industry. For example, JNM is here today. So looking for the IT industry. Explore them. So explore the employers who are going to hire. You may be a language interpreter, or you may be absolutely a professional translator in your country. So how to go through that translation, how to become a certified translator and interpreter. You can connect with MCIS to know. So these are some of the things you should know. What is the geographic area which is hiring? That's very important. You may be a laboratory technician from your country, but knowing that is field hiring, or are there more jobs in Toronto region, or are there more jobs in Windsor? It's very important to find out for your own profession. Salary, what is the salary range, so that when you go for an interview, you know that what are the salary ranges for that. Resumes, understanding resumes as a newcomer is the most important thing. What are the formats used in the industry, and when do you use those formats? What are the parts of the resume which should be there? A simple thing like when you move from a country, you may be putting your name, your photograph, your date of birth. All these things, are they needed in Canada? What is the Canadian standard? Understanding those things. Targeting your resume to the particular job posting, which is very important. So have you been doing that? Have you been following, naming your resumes or submitting the right types? Interviews, preparing for interviews. Uh, the simple thing you have to remember is the fact that you passed the first test, you submitted your resume, and you were invited for an interview, is that the hiring manager or the employer saw something in you. So it's very important to prepare for the interview. What are the types of interviews being offered today? And especially, I'll come to another slide for COVID-19. So what are the types of interviews being offering? How do you prepare for them? What are the questions that come up during an interview? Uh, how do you prepare for them? How do you answer them? Take somebody's help for mock interviews. And especially during COVID-19, there are situation-specific questions asked also. Remember to send a follow-up email when you're invited for an interview or you have completed an interview. Now, there are a lot of virtual training opportunities available in the community. Most of them for newcomers are free. So understand what are the, I've just covered the basic uh, training opportunities. And because of COVID-19, even we have been working from home, but uh, all our services are being offered online. Even our language classes where we have child minding available for parents, the child minding also we are having virtual services. Language training is being offered virtually. Job search training has been offered virtually. So right now there are a lot of virtual training opportunities. Language training. Language training can be 4 different types, which is federally funded language instructions for newcomers to Canada. Another funded language services, English as a second language. So when you say English as a second language and linked, you could have in French too. Occupation specific language training. That means for your healthcare profession, for your financial profession, you're coming from a finance background, you're coming from an accounting background, IT background, you're a project management profession. Enhanced language training. So it's important to know who's offering this training. There are skills training available for the industry, technical skills, industry skills. Bridge training. Bridge training is you're coming from an internationally educated professional and you're looking for bridging the gap between your country and Canada. So these are some of the short-term training offered in different professions, different organizations offer it. Licensing and certification. A lot of agencies prepare you for the licensing as well as certifications for your profession. entrepreneurship programs. You want to open up your own business, or you want to go into a sewing, the way I just mentioned. Now, all these language training programs and other bridge training programs are offered directly by colleges or universities, by community agencies. You can connect LinkedIn. You have so many free training services. You can connect with your library card, lynda.com. You can have services. Just remembering, bridge training programs is normally offered by an agency in partnership with a college or a university. So there is also an academic component attached to it. For all these training programs, the most important thing is eligibility criteria. It could be by immigrant status, PRs, or a citizen, or a refugee claimant, or a work permit holder. There may be a age criteria to it. For example, NPower offers IT programs which are for youth. So there is an age criteria. There may be a language proficiency criteria, level 5, level 7, level 3. The duration may differ anywhere from 5 weeks to 6 months. What is the relevance to your industry, your profession? There may be or may not be a cost attached to it. For example, bridge training with the academic component could be anywhere from $350 to $500. But if it is a job search training, a skill training offered by the government, it could be free. Job placement. Some of the training programs offer unpaid or a paid placement. And if you need money to finish those programs or study further, there is financial assistance available from different agencies, from the government and from lending agencies like Ontario Student Assistance Plan or Windmill. So there are different ways you can get those financial assistance. Now, the pandemic has really affected the job market. We know there are limited number of advertised jobs. There are openings for essential positions only. There's increased unemployment. Work has moved to remote work the way we are working. Meetings have moved to virtual platforms. E-commerce has grown a lot. There is an increase in use of technology, and people need to switch occupations or upgrade their skills, use transferable skills. Now, because of all this, even if you see job fairs have changed to virtual. So we have moved to virtual job fairs. It's a beginning for everybody. We are having a virtual employment week. So we'll be calling different employers on all 5 days. This will be in the month of May. So be tuned for that. Now, that has also meant that more and more telephone interviews are taking place because people are not able to have one-on-one person interviews. There's also, they have moved to online web-based interviews. They could be pre-recorded or live. Interview style and questions have changed. Especially if you see the effect of the pandemic on the interview questions is depending on your profession or the job workplace or the industry you're going to work with and the level of the role you're going to handle. You should be prepared to answer these questions. So it's very important before you go for an interview that you read the news. You keep up to date with public health measures. See what is the effect of the industry, of the pandemic on your industry. What is the role of the government right now? How will you react to some situations? It could be a two-way street for the interview where the employer could ask you and in turn you could ask the employer that if I were to get this job, or what is your organization doing to keep the employees safe? Or in case of this, will you be taking care of these benefits? There may be questions from both ends. You should be prepared to answer as well as ask. Now, if you see, I just pulled out this chart from the Ontario labor market survey. This is February 2021. If you see this chart, you will see where the industry, the labor market is going down as of February 2021 because of the pandemic. So there is a growth in manufacturing, there's a growth in financial, insurance, real estate. There's a professional services have increased, the demand for them. But at the same time, this all is going down. But healthcare, what is happening is healthcare, the frontline workers are increasing. Now, how do you tap into these hiring opportunities during COVID-19? Social media is the best way to be in touch, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, your WhatsApp. Network with people. It could be everything can be done virtually. Network with agencies, network with your LinkedIn profile people, network with your friends. You're a member of Maca, any agent, you're a member of your religious organization. Network with them. Online friends, your WhatsApp right now, you're chatting, those are your friends. They can be in touch with you. Attend virtual job fairs. Uh, get in touch virtually with staffing agencies, especially who specialize in your profession. Community agencies like us, there are all across Canada, in every city, in every small area, one postal code area, you'll find the agency. Company websites. And anything you're not able to find, just go to canada.ca, as simple as that, and all the information is right there. Uh, when you get a job, remember, since most of the jobs, at least non-healthcare, have moved to working remotely, make sure you follow some rules. Dedicate your space and work timings. Invest in technology because everything is virtual now. You need to adapt to this change. Be in touch with colleagues. Don't forget them because you're not meeting in person right now. Maintain your work calendar. Keep learning. Even if you're working, all trainings are virtual. Take breaks to exercise, balance your work and family life, and embrace the flexibility of working from home, which is very important. That's all for the day from my end, and you can contact us at any of these locations at all the numbers mentioned over here. If there is anything, you have my email, you have my phone number, you can get in touch. And any question and answers, I'm open to take.
Thanks very much, Meenakshi. This was a fantastic summary, and I really like your crispness of your presentation and sort of the, packed with a lot of tips for our job seekers. Really very well done. Thank you very much, Meenakshi. So if I may just ask everyone to give her a hand in your own way under mute, that'd be great. So we have a few questions queued up for you, Meenakshi, and as you are even speaking, there are some questions. The first question is from one of the participants. Is the training, you listed a number of training programs in one of your slides. Is it available for PR holders or permanent residents or also for work permit holders?
So coming to that question, what happens is since most of these trainings are offered by community agencies and they have been funded by the government, so most of them will be available only for peers. Some of them, so when you say peers, there are two categories whether you move from express entry, Canadian experience class, and the other one is convention refugees. So they are also PR. So whether they are government assisted or they are privately sponsored, but they are still PR. So it's available for PR. Some training programs are available for PR and citizens and refugee claimants. But work permit holders and visitors, no. International students, no. Most of them, no, unless they are being offered pro bono by some organization. Otherwise, no.
Not. Thank you. The next question is someone wants to know more about the job fair that you're talking about with partnership with RBC coming up on April 29th.
So the job fair, the RBC, what I mentioned is a fireside chat. We are having, it's a 1.5 hour webinar. That's a fireside chat. So that's like a networking session. So once I have the participants, I can also forward you the flyer. It's there on our website too. But the job fair, what I'm saying is an employment week that will be in the month of May. I don't yet have the final dates, the flyer, who are the employers coming, but I have only it's in May, around second week, the early second week.
Thank you, Meenakshi. So the other question that I have queued up here for you is, I'm a project management professional and planning for PMI certification, which is basically the PMP certification.
Yes, and, so agencies do offer that. Agencies do offer training, but sometimes it's actually, this will be under a bridging program. So sometimes when you're doing a bridging program, even if you're a project management, you're a professional engineer, so under the engineering connections, the bridging program, there would also be a PMI help in certification and all.
Yeah, I can give a little bit more context on that. The Toronto Regional Immigrant Employment Council has a number of job agencies like COSTI, Access, Dixie
Yes.
Road Neighborhood, etc. And they actually offer bridge programs. And they also have, TRIAC has what is called a PINS program, which is the Professional Immigrant Networks, which has got a special network for engineers, and that will have some of these offerings as well. And I can talk more about it towards the end in the Q&A session. So there's one other question from a QA engineer with six years experience in both manual and automation testing, looking at the job of in the testing field. Maybe this is a question I would probably reserve for the next speaker, who comes from an IT consulting company. So we'll probably queue up that question for them. What other questions people have? We have probably time for just one question. So if anyone has a question that you have not asked and you feel comfortable asking unmuted, so please unmute yourself and ask the question now. Otherwise, if you have no questions for Meenakshi, we'll move to the next segment, but just pause here for one question. Anyone?
There's one question I see from Priya. Is it possible volunteer online at Indus, since it may be difficult? So two types of volunteering. If you go to our website, Get Involved, there are a bunch of opportunities where you can volunteer in which departments, and there is a form which you have to fill and send it out to our volunteer coordinator, and she organizes that when and how you can volunteer. The second way is, if you're not able to volunteer with Indus, get in touch with me. I can connect you to the volunteer coordinator at Volunteer MBC, Mississauga, Brampton, Caledon, and they do offer remote or online virtual opportunities. So you can do both.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Meenakshi. I think those were some good questions, and thanks for your answers. With that, I think we come to the end of the first segment. And on behalf of Maca, I would like to extend my as well as Maca's personal thanks to you, Meenakshi. As I said, it was a very nice presentation, very crisp. Lots of tips for job seekers. And as someone who is in this space of mentoring newcomers and job seekers, I know that everything that you said is bang on point, and it comes obviously from a lot of experience of having seen people through the process, right? So that really is very powerful. So to the job seekers in the call, I would certainly encourage you to go through the tips in detail and make the best of it for you. Wasan, I think we have the Meenakshi ji, if it's okay to give a copy of your presentation to the participants today.
That wouldn't be possible. I could put short notes or links and send it to them. I can do that. Okay. But because we use this normally in our 3-hour presentation,
formal internal programs, okay.
Yeah, awesome. So that's the only reason.
So if you can send us any web links, etc., to your websites where some of this may be there.
Absolutely.
We can actually present it. We can provide it to all the participants so that they can get the benefit of, reading into a little bit more detail and have more time to digest the information, etc., for themselves.
Absolutely. I can put the points together and send it to you, definitely, and links, websites. So that is why we say get in touch with a community agency and meet a counselor, because they can actually guide you in detail on each topic. So that really helps newcomers, and everything is free. All the services are free. You don't have to pay anything anywhere.
So thank you, Meenakshi. And thank you, Meenakshi. And you can send to us so that we'll forward them to all the participants.
Definitely, that I'll be doing it to you. Thank you so much, Vasan. Thank you so much, Vasan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice seeing you. And I like the last question about volunteering as well. So that's the way to go. For a lot of the job seekers, I encourage them to volunteer in public organizations. That gives them the ability to network, expand their network, and showcase what they can do. And certainly a step in the right direction. So good question and good answer. And I certainly encourage that. So with that, we move to the next segment. And Meenakshi, you can continue to be part of the discussion. So feel free to be here. So we are going to basically move into knowing more about an organization called the J&M Group. And J&M Group has been in existence for about 9 years, and we have two key people from JNM, Nishchal, Krishna, as well as Matangi, who will be speaking about the organization. So they are basically one of the fastest growing IT consulting companies in North America, and they've got delivery centers across multiple locations across the globe, and they are very proud about that 3I model for ideate, implement, and inspire. So we'll know more about that model. And we have very interesting individuals here in Nishchal. Nishchal is sort of the business operations and delivery lead, and he's got 14 plus years experience in consulting broadly, in IT consulting. And what I liked about his resume is that he has placed more than 500 IT consultants for top clients in Canada and not in general North America. So that's a very awesome accomplishment in terms of having touched the lives of 500 people in terms of providing the placement to them. And so it's obviously a very, very relevant individual to talk to you, job seekers. And currently, I also appreciate people who are continuously learning and continuously educating themselves. He's doing his part-time MBA at Ivy School. So congratulations and all the very best, Nishal, with the MBA. And I've always learned many of my qualifications through part-time process. It's not easy, being a full-time employee or a business owner and doing this on at the edge of your desk is not easy. So congratulations on what you've done for yourself, for your growth. And it's something to learn from Nishchal for all of you job seekers, that learning never stops. Even today, I'm actually working for a certification. I'm 60 plus, and I'm a senior partner in Deloitte. I'm still learning. So this continuous learning keeps going all the time. So that's something to learn from. And joining him from JNM Group, we have Matangi Karthipan today as well. And she's someone who is basically brings more of a HR slant to this discussion. She's a human resource professional with a lot of experience in onboarding, end-to-end onboarding of new professionals into jobs. So she has a lot of experience in terms of giving you the tips on how to be successful as you go into an organization, quickly adjust to the culture of the organization and be successful in the organization, et cetera, et cetera. So without further delay, I would like to invite Nishchal and Matangi to talk to us about JNM Group, and let's listen to them.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Yes, we are so glad to be a part of Maca'S Job Workshop, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the invite. So yes, as you said, JNM has been into the IT industry for more than 9 years. We are here since 2012. And we placed a lot of IT consultants. Yes, we are into core IT. That's our main domain here in JNM Group, and we focus to deliver the best to our clients. And we have tied with major clients here in Canada, and we're very proud to say that most of the top companies here, the major sectors, I would say, the banking, the telecommunication, yes, we are a part of many of them. And we placed a lot of consultants who are mostly new immigrants to Canada. We try to open up the way for the new immigrants. We try to reach out to more new immigrants and set up a path and get an entry point for them, because that's very, very important. And we think our main focus is that. So yes, we thought being a part of this job workshop is going to be very helpful for all the mainly IT, and also probably the do's and don'ts or tips that we could give as to how you present yourself would be beneficial for any employee who tries to, start their career here in Canada, being a new immigrant here. So I would just like to give a short brief about the do's and don'ts. So what I would say is going to be a successful way that you can achieve in cracking an interview, or at least trying, making your resume like an eye catcher for your interview. I think most of it, yes, was covered by Indus. Yes, they had covered most of the part, but yes, to adding on to it, I would just like to share my screen. So.
Yeah, we can see it. Thank you.
Yes. So presenting your CV is very, very important. So this is because they're not going to see you. The first thing that's going to be about you is going to be your CV. So I just prepared a short do's and don'ts of a CV, which we've seen has definitely been a very good reach, where employees have cracked the interview, with these being the major factors on their CV. So I can probably send it across, and it's been really beneficial. So make sure that you have your CV very precise, like a 2 to 3 page precise content of what you've done, not a very big, a very large, too many pages which has too many information about your experience. You can save that to perform it or talk to them when you're having your interview. So first, when it comes to your CV, yes, highlight very important information. Your personal information, please make sure you're not putting it on your CV. Back home, yes, we do have a habit of including our gender, our passport details, or date of birth. That is considered very, very sensitive here in Canada. You're not supposed to let out that information to any of the employees unless and until they ask you if it's needed. So do not present that in your resume when you give. Make sure that you do not have your date of birth, your marital status, your gender. All that is not required. All that they want to see in your resume is just what what is your achievements, what is your skills, what are you good at. So that's what has to be on your CV. So please focus on that. And bullet points everything. Do not make big paragraphs, so that it's not making them too bored to see what you've done. So please make sure you're doing that. Do not have any unprofessional email IDs or names on the CV. I would say that's very, very important, because in my tenure with JNM, so from the day when I'm here in Canada, I've been with JNM only. So what I've seen is when you give a resume, the resume has too many information, it doesn't get shortlisted at all, for sure. You have to make it very, very crisp, and having any unprofessional email IDs or having any too many graphic contents or information that doesn't deliver what we want to know will not get shortlisted. And the location, yes, it's not very, it's not told outside, or people do not tell it out that you need to have a Canadian experience, but yes, that is mandated at most of the places. They do tell you that previous Canadian experience would be an additional advantage, even though they say that we are welcoming new immigrants. But yes, that becomes a showstopper for many people, where when you don't have a Canadian experience, even if you are a very good resource, it might, your profile might not get shortlisted. One small tip is, do not include the location where you worked previously in your resume. That's something that I've seen has worked out. You can remove the location, be it your education, be it your employment. Try to remove the location when you submit your resume. I've heard from a lot of people that yes, it worked out. I've cracked the interview because my profile was shortlisted, because yes, many of the IT consultants do work for many top IT companies. So they are all over the world. So you don't have to mention which country you're from. So you can remove that. That's a very important tip that I've seen. And when you apply for a position, if you think your resume has not been shortlisted, there are people who have got they've applied for more than 50, 60 companies, have not been called at all for. But yes, there's another valuable tip that I just save and tell everybody, is that go to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very, very useful, and networking is the key here. If you do a proper networking, you will definitely get into a suitable position for your profile. Even if you're going to start your career after a gap, or you're going to change your domain, LinkedIn is going to be very useful. Do a lot of networking. And when you apply for a job, say for example, you're applying for a job in a very reputed bank, go look for the same designation in LinkedIn. Try to catch hold of somebody with a similar profile who's working for that company. Try to connect with that person and let them know that you're interested to connect with them, and get to know about the role, and through them you can start applying. That's one important thing. Many of my friends, in fact even my husband, got a job in that way. So go to LinkedIn, search for those kind of similar designations, and try to connect with people. Yes, you can look for people. There are many people who are welcoming. They're very friendly here. You can reach out to them and ask them to refer your resume, because reference is what works in most of the places, as I've seen, or through agencies. Yes, JNM is here, and there are so many companies through whom you can apply for companies. But if you're not able to reach any of them, if your profile is not being seen by any of them, please try to go to LinkedIn and do this, which I feel is something that I have to really let you know. That will definitely help you. You can do that. and at the same time explore what the company is about, and explore what kind of employments they give you. Get to know what are the benefits that you can get from because there are types of employment here, like you can go on a contract, you can go on a full-time job. There are many different types of employment that you can choose. Get to know, familiarize yourself with how the industry is, how the market is, how how you can adjust yourself, adapt yourself to a culture here, because culture is also a big barrier for many people, that you can't adapt to this kind of a work culture because you are not having a previous experience. So try to understand how it works, connect with a lot of people, and get to know that how you can sustain here and retain yourself in the market. That's very, very important. And yes, more importantly, trainings. There are a lot of services in Canada where you get to have training bridging programs. That's going to help you also to enter into an organization, because those kind of trainings and education, continuing education is very, very good. So you can definitely do that. At least that's going to open up, and you can get through that kind of education, where you get to know the culture, you understand what the industry is all about. So that's also going to help you in such a way. So probably yes, I would suggest from a HR point of view, this is where you will have to focus on. You will have to find the path where you can achieve and you can crack it and you can enter. So focus on that. I will tell all of you to not stop. And one more important thing is the survival job. I've seen a lot of people ending up with survival jobs, and they leave their main work. They do not get the time to spend, to search their jobs, whatever is their main domain, even though they have a lot of experience. They carry a lot of experience, but yes, they end up with a survival job. But they have to, yes, you have to survive, you have to earn for your living, but do not fall into the trap of continuing a survival job forever. That is not something I would advise. Please, I would suggest all of you to do a survival job, yes, but explore a lot of opportunities now, because it's pandemic. Yes, you're not having a lot of opportunities to walk in or call and reach people, but yes, you can try as much as you can to network and get to agencies or companies, and get yourself familiarized as to what is happening. And yes, so I think I'm done, so I can just move it on to Nischal, where he's going to talk about more into IT and how the job market is and all about. Yeah, moving on to Nischal.
Thank you, Matangi. That was wonderful. Thank you, Bhaskaran, for a wonderful introduction you gave for me. And thank you, Mr. Vasan, for inviting me. And thanks to Ms. Meenakshi from Indus. She really did a good job. She took most of her points. It doesn't matter who conveys, right? So the end of the day, the points has to be conveyed. But the most important thing we have to remember here is getting yourself prepared psychologically. That's where people miss out. They get into frustration, they get upset, they lose hope. So first of all, you have to prepare yourself psychologically. That is like very important soft skill, like prepare yourself. Don't forget that. Second, not one resume fits all the job opportunities you're looking for. You might have multiple skills. Like for example, Mr. Sriram was talking about his project management experience. So a project management experienced person can fall in multiple categories. But one resume, if you start applying for Scrum or project or BA, no, you won't get picked. So have multiple options at the same time. Keep those things ready. And third important point is, yes, 2 to 3 page resume is good, but at the same time, keep a little detailed resume ready with you when a recruiter or the hiring manager asks for the details of what you did in the project. Okay, I understand you worked in this project. That's good. What was your role exactly, and what was the detail? You have to keep it ready. You cannot say, hey, give me 2 days time and I'll come back to you. So keep that profile also ready with you. And a couple of other things are, be first. So it's like first come, first serve, right? That is very important thing where most of the people miss, because see, I hire for my internal company and for the clients also. and we run in a certain timeline. So first 10 people, I like whoever is the best, I'll move forward, right? So I cannot wait for like, so if somebody is calling you for an interview, give your available date and try to give at the earliest date possible, and also give couple of additional dates. Don't just say, hey, I am like Wednesday afternoon 4 o'clock only I'm available, otherwise I'm not. Let's not be pricey. Everybody is busy. It's like nobody is going to judge you. Okay, he is jobless, so that's why he's available all the time. No, that's not going to happen. Be very accommodative. That's what I'm trying to say. Especially now, Ms. Meenakshi has covered unemployment during COVID, but the good part is that unemployment gap is like reducing. It was 16+%, now it is around 9%. So the jobs are filling up fast. But the volatility is huge. Like for one job application, there are like 200 to 300 people are applying for that job. So in any recruiter or even the ATS system, right? So it picks the first 10 or first 20 and it'll move forward. So keep that in mind. And even when you're applying job, please look for the things like when it was posted. A few people are still applying jobs which is like posted for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks prior. No, it is not going to help. So set up notification in whatever job portal you're using, like Monster or Indeed or LinkedIn, whatever it is. So set up those notifications. So as soon as it comes, you have to apply. You cannot waste time. And IT industry is booming. Yes, it was down because of COVID, and we were not like, nobody escaped COVID, right? So even we got affected, and a lot of our clients also had let go a lot of people, but things are stabilizing, including us. Everybody is picking up, so IT hiring is happening. One good thing is everything is moving digital now, so it's ramping up. The speed has picked up. In fact, like, whatever they had like 5 years plan or 3 years plan, it's like they started initiating now, and specific budget has been spent on that. And probably next couple of months, you might feel that frustration. You might feel that things are going slow. I'm talking about other non-IT people also. But things are picking up. Like there are a lot of government funds. If you see the recent budget, government is spending on specific areas. Their government has spent investing good amount of their budget in small businesses and small companies where the hiring is going to happen a lot. And government is spending a lot of money in digital infrastructure, which is really important. So probably next couple of months might be slow or little draggy, but that is not going to be a long-term problem. So all you have to be is psychologically cool, and you have to search for a job as if it is a job itself. So that is the most practical thing. And Matangi touched certain points about contract and full-time. Please be aware of different opportunities. What is contract? What is incorporation? What is a full-time? What are the benefits? What is the range, salary range, and all those things? And the biggest challenge is even companies would like to take little advantage of newcomers. There is nothing wrong in that, because see, for you need to have that Canadian experience, and even for companies, they need people in their company. Because they are investing their time, and they're going to train. Even though whatever you've done the exact same thing back there, here they're going to spend a lot of time and skill to train you. It's not just the money, so they would be looking at that. So be accommodative, be adaptable, be flexible, understand these full-time and contract and T4A, whatever the terms. Like if you Google, you will find like job opportunity terms. That is not a problem. And beware of scams. There is a lot of scams happening, especially from the last 1 or 2 months. I've been hearing a lot, especially even my friends and people who I know, they're like reaching out to me saying, hey, this is happening, is this correct? So beware of those things. Those are really important things. And specifically, if you need to train yourself on any skills, yes, there are a lot of agencies like Indus and a lot of community services they are doing. A lot of professional trainers who do even for PMP certification. I think they charge around 1,500 or 2,000. I'm not sure about the cost, but they do a lot of professional training. But my recommendation would be go online. There are sites like udemy.com and things like that. There are always sales on, like, for $15, $20, you would learn a new skill, which you can invest on yourself, which is really important, right? It can be anything. It can be sales, or it can be marketing, or it can be IT related or programming related. You get done. You all must know that. So prepare to that. And we'll wrap it up with one more point, and then I'll open up for question and answers. So the most important thing where everybody misses is the question and answer both are there with you even before you're attending the interview, which is, the question is your job description, the answer is your own resume. The problem is we don't know what is there in our resume. We just add things, but we don't remember. You know your story. How do you think the interviewer is coming up with questions, right? Forget the technical part of it a little bit, but 70% of the questions are going to be picked up from your own resume. They're going to say, oh yeah, hi, you did this. So what did you do there? How did you do this? What tool did you use? Oh, what happened then? Like, that's where the questions are going to come. So if you are not aware of your own resume, whatever you're preparing, and that is going to be a big trouble. First, you could not talk properly, and first you will not understand, and within a second they will understand, okay, they're trying to make it up. You may not try to make it up. You would have done it correctly, but probably because you're not confident, or you're like, you could not answer it in the right way. So every time, your resume should be like by heart for yourself, and you always remember the story what you're going to talk. It's like basic question, like, tell me about yourself. Write a story, like, write and keep the story. Like how you're preparing your resume, prepare a story for the answers, the most common answers. Don't miss there. You need to structure your interview. You need to end, like, tell me about yourself. You have to end that question in such a way that the other person is going to ask a question from that, so that you have another answer ready. So tell me about this project, what you did. You have to tell a summary where you end that question, the summary, in such a way that I'm going to pick up answer from the points you're going to talk. So next answer, your answer is going to be ready. So it's all shows your preparation and confidence. So resume preparation is one thing. Preparing your own story is the most important thing. So be ready with that. And it's not like applying 100 jobs, you will get one. Yes, probably you will, but you don't have to go through that process. So that's my experience. I will not say my advice or recommendation. That's my experience. I've seen that. Okay. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, M and N from J&M. And so we have one question queued up that you are familiar with, Michelle, from on the QA front, in terms of a QA engineer in the call, who is asking about what she can do to really earn a job in the QA field. So the question basically reads: I'm a QA engineer with 6+ years experience, both manual and automated testing, looking for a job in the testing field. What would be your suggestions for me? She has a gap of 4 years, I think, between her previous job and now. So it looks like she's looking to some retooling, and which she's already working on, some safe training and so
on. Okay, so I will type my email ID there, and my recruiter's generic email ID. You can send your profile. There is nothing wrong having a gap, but again, as I said, your story should sell that gap. Everybody has gaps in their career, right? So your story should sell your gap, and if you are proficient enough, and if you're not so demanding, probably people would want to give a chance for people having gap. Probably they'll pay you $5 less than what they're paying in the market, but you should be open to that. And there are a lot of QA positions are coming up. So if you're the gap doesn't matter if you are skilled. If you're skilled, and if you equip yourself with the latest stories, what is happening, talk to your friends who are in the QA same field, what they're doing. Try to understand what they do. Probably a lot of things would have changed in the last 4 years, so we have to keep that in mind. So understand the story, show it in such a way that even though you are out of the market for the 4 years, you exactly know what's happening in the market. They don't need to spend some time on you to bring it to speed. You are confident that you can just plug in and play. You are ready for that kind of a thing. And anyways, I'm going to type my email ID and my recruiter's email ID so you can share your profile.
While you're typing that, what other questions do we have for Madangi and Nishal? I think they gave a number of tips. And being in this space, I know all that tips were very, very relevant and on point. And I encourage every one of you to take that to heart, because it comes from really the people who are dealing with this day in and day out. So please take this very seriously, and then I'm sure you will have more than one job to choose from, and if you follow this through. Other questions? Anyone wants to unmute themselves and ask? Please feel free to do so. If you're feeling comfortable typing, feel free to do that. We have probably time for maybe one more question. What questions do you have? As I said, no questions are silly questions. No questions are unimportant. It's important for us to provide the answers you're looking for, or rather make this session valuable to yourself by customizing the way you want some questions to be answered if you're wondering about something.
And yes, I would like to I think the question was from Indu, a QA engineer. Yes. If Indu, you are interested, we can offer you a non-paid internship, because we have a couple of projects that's going on, and you can take up a QA internship role with JNM for 3 months. That could help you explore, opportunities outside, which will be beneficial for you. If you are interested, please, I think Nishchal is going to type in his email. You can share your resume to us. We can talk to you, in the coming days, in the coming week, and we can see if, how in what way we can help you. And yes, from there we can definitely see if our, any of our clients would be, interested on your profile, because once you start to put that you have a Canadian experience where you again started your career after a gap, and this internship would probably be helpful. It's up to you. You can take it up, and you can definitely let us know if you're interested. We can take it forward.
Sure, Madangi. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry,
Awesome.
Indu, I missed that question. Yes, we do that. We do that as a training opportunity for people who can get into the market. So very limited people, we do that.
So is
Awesome.
it online? Actually, that internship program is online or?
Yeah, it's remote. Yes, it is
Okay,
remote.
it's
It's
remote,
not in
yes.
person. No.
So it'll be for JNM that you're going to do a QA role for us. It's an internship.
Okay.
We try to train you. We try to, because we work on different projects. It's not only IT staffing. We also do a couple of development and few other, projects for our clients. So we can try to, train you on that perspective, and you can get an exposure as to how, that's going to benefit you. I'm just opening up an offer to you, so you can let me know if you're interested.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is awesome, Madangi and Nishal, to really be upfront and very ready to help. Really appreciate that gesture. That's really amazing that you're doing that right as a response to the question. So absolutely phenomenal. That gives me, it tells me what JNM is all about. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
So that takes us to the next part of our next segment of our discussion this afternoon. And we are moving from computer languages to real spoken language now, from IT to MCIS. MCIS is a language solutions company. They have been in existence for a number of years, probably about 31 years or so to be precise. So they are in the business of helping in this day of globalization and multiple individuals who speak multiple languages coming together to work and live in countries like Canada. As all of you can appreciate, Canada is a country which has got individuals from all countries A to Z, and we all speak different languages as our mother tongue. We obviously speak English as a common language, but then we still have a number of individuals who are more communicative in their mother tongue than in English. So the need for interpretation of their mother tongue into English becomes extremely crucial for us to operate in a society, whether it is in a legal courtroom or in a conference where somebody speaks in French or other languages and we need everyone to hear it in English, or it could be in other situations, educational situations, etc. Language interpretation has become part and parcel of a number of situations where people who speak different languages come together and speakers from different backgrounds come together to deliver what they want to deliver. So MCIS is in this business of helping you become a skilled interpreter, skilled translator, etc., etc. So I'll let them talk more about what they do. I think their services and the training that they provide, on one hand, they provide training to individuals to really become interpreters and knowing the language that you know and how you can actually help in any of these settings. And they also help individuals who have the problem of language to really understand how to go about it, how to use some of these services, etc. So we have again two individuals from MCIS today. We have Judy Abraham, who is their National Business Development Manager, and she's in the business of training the service providers who really need this help, and those are her customers. Therefore, she is closer to them as a National Business Development Manager. Joining Judy, we also have Elena Quinn, who has joined us, and she's actually got extensive knowledge about requirements of the language professional to succeed, and she will give you a lot of tips in terms of what is this art of translation and interpretation all about. How can you make a good career out of it if you have a passion for it, and how can you make this part of your own job? And a lot of people wonder, you may not know that such a thing exists. And I have known some people who do this job in court system, and they are really very happy, and they really feel that there is a very good outlet for what they are good at, which is the language, right? So without further delay, help me welcome Judy and Elena to this afternoon session. And the floor is all yours, Judy.
Thank you. So, so I can start. I can do a quick introduction, and I'm basically here to support my colleague Alana, who knows the interpretation training and the expertise and everything that's needed inside and out. So just because I have worked as an interpreter, I still do translation. I have worked as a trainer of interpreters, and I have a very good relationship with customers. So I just came to see if I can support Alana and if there's anything I can help with, but I am pretty confident that she can take it and run with it, and she doesn't need my help, but I'll be here.
Thank you endlessly, Judy. I appreciate it. And thank you, Bhaskar, for the wonderful introduction. And I'm just going to share my screen so we can get going here with the presentation. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to talk about this opportunity with you guys because like Bhaskar was saying, there's such a need in communities to have people's voices be heard, and you never know what your native language skills might be used for helping others in your community. And so that's something that we really want to reinforce and reiterate, that having more than one language is such an asset. It is so invaluable to be multilingual, to be bilingual. And so this is what we will be kind of discussing and exploring today. So I'm going to start by just introducing myself. So my name is Elena, and I am one of the account managers at MCIS Language Solutions. I've been with MCIS since 2018, and I also have with me today Judy, who was just kindly introduced, and also Lester Corpley, who is the Director of Marketing and Business Development as well. So I'm sure he'll want to say hi near the end, or now, Lester, whatever you would prefer. But and yeah, so anyways, today is going to be kind of just a snapshot, a quick picture of what's going on in the market, with what's required to be an interpreter, the training, but we do offer monthly information sessions on how to become interpreters and translators, and they run for about an hour. So just so much more in-depth, extensive if you do want to get more information. and also I think Maca would be more than able to give you our contact information, and my email is up there if you're interested as well. So today we are going to be discussing who MCIS is, what services MCIS offers, what it is like to be an interpreter and translator, and also the easiest way to become a language professional. So we also have some very fun giveaways too, which I know we've been kind of leading up to, so I'll be able to discuss those as well in our presentation. So now a little bit about MCIS. We are a nonprofit social enterprise, and we do not have owners or stakeholders, but instead a 13 volunteer member board of directors who helps make the best decisions for MCIS as an organization. So we began our journey by helping victims of domestic violence have voices in courtrooms by offering them free interpretation services, which we still offer to date 30 years later. And so this eventually led us to be able to provide interpretation services in multiple capacities for varying customers. So our vision is up there. It is to connect people globally through language, and our mission is to remove all language barriers. So the services that we offer to date include face-to-face interpretation in legal settings, medical settings, social services, conferences, you name it. We can provide those face-to-face interpretation assignments. We also offer technology-based services, including video and telephone interpretation as well, which have been growing with popularity as the pandemic just unfortunately rages on. So we've been continuing seamless service ever since the pandemic began. And in fact, like, our business is doing very well. And we've just had to make that agile transition from being more in person to moving online, which, I mean, everyone is doing a great job of doing. We're all here today. So this is, you know, it gives me confidence that this technology-based business is here to stay, and we're all growing because of it. We also offer document translation services. And so some things that are included within translation services include transcription, localization, and accessibility services as well. And so our final category of service that we offer is training and testing. So we developed our training programs because we saw that there was a need to keep the quality of our interpreters as high as it possibly could be so that we can continue to serve our vastly diverse communities in the GTA. And so if you're looking to monetize your language skills and become entrepreneurs, this is absolutely the career for you. Okay, so a little bit about freelancing, like, what exactly is it? So who are interpreters and translators? So interpreters and most translators are independent contractors. So that kind of means that you get to pick and choose what assignments you want to do, what jobs interest you, and you get to refuse which ones, you know, you may not be as interested in. So there's a lot of freedom that comes with that. So this career gives individuals the opportunity to figure out, you know, what kind of topics they enjoy and the ability to specialize in what interests them the most as well. So whether it's legal or court assignments or medical, as we know, there's so much going on in the medical field right now. So there's lots of business to be able to find, you know, what is your niche in this field. And you also have the flexibility to determine your schedule as well. So not only do you choose which jobs you want to go for, but you also choose, you know, okay, I'm going to work this day, this day, this day, and then take these kind of 3 days off. So the flexibility in catering your schedule to your needs is all there for you. It's also your responsibility to manage your accounting, contracts, and any legal issues that might come up for you, as you will be your own boss, which is very exciting. So, and most important of all is the importance of standing out against other interpreters and translators. And the best way to do that is making sure that you continually invest in your growth through professional development. And so that can be done through courses that you can take. As I'm going to mention in just a little bit, MCIS offers core courses so that you can really get there and be a true and successful language professional. Okay, so first I'm going to discuss about the interpretation career, and then I'm going to discuss translation as well. And so, you know, you may be asking, like, what is the difference between interpretation and translation? So we categorize the two separately because interpretation refers strictly to oral communication, whereas translation for us refers specifically to written communication, so document to document. And so we're going to start with oral communication. So as interpreters, you will be responsible to take the role of your client's voice. Wow, That is so powerful. And so interpreters are communication and language experts who listen to, comprehend, and translate oral communications from one language into another. So being a professional community interpreter is extremely valued because you will know how to remain impartial throughout an assignment, keep your session confidential, and know how to operate under pressure while remaining a true professional. So the skills that are required to be a successful interpreter include being an excellent communicator, holding specialty knowledge in the field of communication, but also in other fields like social services, medical services, business, legal, and many other. You also will need to possess cultural competence. So it's such an asset to have in-depth knowledge of your culture in this career, as well as having knowledge about, Canadian culture as well. So both these things are very valuable. Also being an empathetic listener who understands both the needs of the service provider and the needs of the client that you are serving at that time. And then finally, it'll be a definite requirement to be a trained and tested interpreter, which will make you ready to go on any assignment you are offered. So what kind of assignments could you go on if you were an interpreter? So all language service providers are slightly different, but MCIS has an online, we're going to discuss a little bit about how you would get access to these jobs. As I was saying, each different language service provider is slightly different, but MCIS has an online portal called Interpreter Intelligence. So when you apply to work with MCIS and you get a job, you will be given instructions on how to access this online portal, which is where you will be able to accept or decline, all job offers that you might receive. And so as far as like one-on-one settings go, the types of jobs that you might be offered on the portal could include working with lawyers or social workers, doctors, going to events, and potentially working with students one-on-one as well. So there's lots of different types of assignments. There's also group assignments too, which are slightly different, but you could be engaging at group workshops, at liaison interpreting meetings, at auto shows, at film festivals, bilateral meetings, negotiations, depositions, and so many others. Okay, and now looking at the market rates. So the market rates vary depending on who you're working for or what the customer is asking of you. But for community interpreting, on the low end range of the market, it's roughly $17 per hour. On the high end, it's $35 per hour, and minimums range from 1 to 2 hours. So this is mainly set for in-person interpretation. So for remote and online, the minimums do vary slightly that way. So they could be, because you're over the phone or because you're on a video, it's easier to swap between assignments. So they might be shorter minimums, such as 30-minute minimums or an hour minimum compared to the face-to-face, which would be about 1 to 2 hours. For legal interpreting on the low end, you might be paid $25 per hour, and on the high end, you might be paid $35 per hour. And the minimums range from 2 to 3 hours for legal or court interpreting. And then finally, for conference interpreting, on the low end, you might be paid $650 per day. And on the high end, you might be paid about $1,200 per day. And the minimums for that are significantly higher, being half a day or a full day, depending on how long the conference needs you to be there for. So again, as Bhaskar has asked, I have no problem sending this presentation in case you want to dig through these details a little bit more in depth later on as well. So don't worry about that. And then finally, so what is it going to take for you to be ready to work in the field? So MCIS does offer this core program that gets you on your way. And so between having formal training, which MCIS would offer, and having your test for the ILSAT or CILISAT test, you would be ready to take assignments after that point. And so the ILSAT or CILISAT exam is a government-approved test that not only tests your interpretation skills, but also your languages to make sure that you are ready to go out into the field. And so having both these pieces would make you ready to not only work for MCIS, but also any other language service provider that you have in mind. Okay, and so the format of this course that I was discussing is entirely online, where you will be given 3 months of access to complete the program. And the reason why I'm bringing this information up in this session is because at the end of this session, we will be offering one free training to an individual. And so I thought you might want to know a little bit about what you're being offered. And so the course is going to cover 3 different sections. The first section being the fundamentals. So this is where you're going to learn about the code of ethics, which is one of the most important parts of being an interpreter. And so it will teach you how to handle pressure of interpreting for individuals, how to remain impartial and unbiased throughout assignments. The course will thoroughly explore the role of the interpreter and the different modes of interpretation, whether it's consecutive or simultaneous or conference interpreting. The second section is going to be on legal interpretation. So this course is going to show you in many different modules, the order of events in legal settings, which is more formal than less formal settings that you might go on for jobs. The program is going to give you a Canadian legal system overview, also how to use your code of ethics while dealing with very sensitive cases, which is really important. And you will be trained on how to handle these situations while remaining a true professional. And then this section also covers the difference between criminal and civil law. The final section of the course is going to dive into medical interpretation. So this portion of the course really aims to add to your glossary of medical terminology. It discusses anatomy, physiology, common diseases, and mental health. And then many scenarios in the medical setting also are quite sensitive. And so this course is going to do a thorough job at running through different scenarios and how to use your code of ethics as well. And as you can see, the format's completely online, just like everything else we're doing these days. And the original cost of this program is $850, which if you win this free course, that's what you will be getting for free. Okay, and now thank you for waiting, my excited potential translators. So I'm going to discuss a little bit more about this career as well. And so as I mentioned before, translation is the process of translating words or a text from one language into another written format as well. And it does not occur in real time like interpretation does. So if you're someone who loves writing, languages, and culture, then translation is absolutely for you. So some of the skills you'll need to possess as a translator include advanced language knowledge, excellent writing skills, in-depth cultural knowledge, research abilities. You also must be detail-oriented with translation, as it takes a lot of fine-tuning to get right. And you also need to hold technical competence, so understanding your way around, Microsoft Word, Adobe, different types of CAT tools, and also the ability to navigate your research browsers online to make sure that you're ready to do your assignments. And then finally, it's important that you have some sort of formal training before you really dig your roots into this career. And so as a translator, you will be able to work on various interesting projects, such as evidence for court, brochures, personal documents, emails, which can be very important for international business that communicate in more than one language, and also for legal contracts as well. So as I was mentioning about our localization services that we also offer at MCIS, localization plays a huge role in translation in areas such as advertising, literary translations, websites, subtitling, as well, for localizing something, desktop publishing is really important to note, as not all languages look the same in formatting options. So it's really important to keep a keen eye to see, okay, this is how the English document was formatted, but how should, my Tamil document be formatted, or my Hindi document? So these are really important things to keep in mind when looking at translation projects. Okay, and now on to the market rates. So for translation, it's done slightly differently than interpretation. It's not as frequently quoted by hour. It is by word, as you can see in the document above. So for general translation, normally on the low end, it's about 8 cents per word. On the high end, it would be about 20 cents per word you would be getting. And so the minimum for that type of document would be determined by the translator. So whether you wanted to say a minimum of 250 words, or a minimum of $60. It depends on how you would like to quote it. And then for revision, on the low end, it would be about 2 cents per word. On the high end, it would be about 5 cents per word. And then again, that's determined by the translator. And transcreation is something very, very cool and fun. It's where translators get to have all the fun in the world. It's normally related to advertising. And so it might be one word that you have to translate, or it might be a phrase or a slogan that holds a lot of cultural meaning to it. And that's why it's built in as an hourly rate that you would establish as opposed to a per word rate, because, you know, you might spend an hour working on this one word to help this company sell their products, you know, to this selected market. And it's important that you get compensated for your time. So that's why that one is an hourly rate that you would decide as well as a translator. So how exactly do you become this translator? What's the path to get there? And again, formal education is really important so that you know how to apply the tools that you've learned. So MCIS does offer a translation program as well, or there is as well, you know, university programs, college programs as well in translation that may be really important to get you to that place where you're ready to take on assignments. So just a quick overview of what the MCIS program offers, and as well, this will also be up for grabs. So if you do win the one free training, you will get to select, okay, I'm most interested in the translator training, or I'm most interested in the interpreter training, and you'll let me know which one you prefer. Again, duration is the same, so you have 3 months of access to this course. Its format is on online, and the cost of both courses is the same, so $850 before tax. But what exactly is encompassed in the course is it's broken up into 3 sections as well. So the fundamentals of translation includes the language service industry, key translation theories and skills, and the competence a translator should possess to be successful in the field. The next section, translation competence. So you will learn how to conduct research as a translator. You will learn about the target language and the importance of keeping the quality between the 2 languages. And as well, you'll learn about the technology that's required for you to have deep knowledge about to be successful, which leads to the community translation side. So you'll focus on different fields that you could be translating into, like community-based translations, legal translations, and again, medical translations. Okay, so to conclude here, we want to set you up to work for as many service providers as possible at MCIS, but here are a few reasons that we would encourage you to become freelancers with us. So the first reason is that we're very reputable in the language industry. We have a very well-known name, which makes us very creditable for our customers, and they trust us, and that's, you know, really important to us as an organization. The second reason is that we're continually creating new trainings to specialize further and to keep your skills current. So as I mentioned, you know, something that sets you apart as an interpreter or translator is continuing to invest in your education and your career. And then thirdly, MCIS pays for errors and omissions insurance, so you do not have to get personal errors and omissions insurance if you are taking on jobs from MCIS. And then finally, we offer so many different avenues for interpretation, you know, whether you are willing to go on face-to-face interpretation assignments, or you would like to just be at home and do video and over the phone stuff. So many different ranging ways and methods you can become an interpreter for MCIS. And for translation, we have so many different projects. You know, they range from medical-based stuff to just general administrative text, and there will be so many things in between that you can practice and really try and find what specialty you absolutely love. And then, so what comes next? So basically, once you have that kind of formal training established for interpretation, if you have the training and the testing, then we absolutely would love for you to join our roster. And there is a link on our website, which I will be able to provide this information to Maca, who will hopefully be able to distribute this information to the people who've attended today. And for translation, it's just the training, and then we would recommend that you join us. And if you do have previous experience in any country, so a degree, a certificate in translation or interpretation, we always welcome you to try and apply. And at that point in HR, we go through your different education tools, and we can assess, you know, oh, okay, maybe you just need this one little course, or nope, you're good to go, and you can become a language professional right away. So that's very exciting too. And without further ado, I would love to discuss the discounts that you will be getting from this course and this workshop today. And so we're going to be offering one free training 2 50% off trainings, and then also 2 30% off trainings. And so how you would apply to qualify for these discounts is you would email Maca just saying, hey, I'm interested in a free training. And then at the end, so I think we're gonna draw May the 3rd. So we'll give you up until April the 30th to contact Maca and say that you're interested in going for one of these opportunities. And I will reach out to you, to the lucky winners that we draw on May the 3rd. So, and I'm willing to take questions now if anyone has any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alana. First of all, I like your energy. It's a lot, and it's really everyone needed it in the afternoon, and I think it's been great. Thank you again on behalf of Maca for not only giving a fantastic presentation on. I learned quite a bit on interpretation translation today and what exists, and also for your very generous offer of free training for some of our participants today. And then also to explain what they need to do and the timelines that they need to adhere to. Now, I have one question for you, which is, what is the certifying authority, or is that a provincial authority that offers this certification, or is it even regulated? Particularly translation and interpretation, are they sort of regulated in some sort? Can you shed some light on that part?
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm sure if anybody has ever Googled interpretation, translation, it's one of those careers where a lot of things will come up on Google on, okay, what do I need to do? It's not as clear. So that's definitely an amazing question that we get frequently at our information sessions. So there is a regulating body called CTTIC, and that's the Canadian umbrella body that holds a bunch of different provincial bodies underneath it. So for Ontario, it's ATIO, which is Association of Translators and Interpreters in Ontario. And so that one, basically, if you wanted to become a certified interpreter or a certified translator on their website, so ATIO, I believe it's .com, but if you just Googled ATIO, it'll come up right away. And there's different credentials that you might need before you would qualify to take their test. And so once you take this qualification test, then you would become a certified translator or interpreter. But to actually just do the work of interpretation and translation, certification is not necessary from the certifying body. So that's a really important thing to know. The general standard for interpretation, as I mentioned, as long as you have some formal training, which allows you to understand the nature of the career, to have a good, a thorough understanding of the code of ethics, which is the most important part to go out in the field. And then as well, once you get this test, this ILSAT-CILISAT test, which is Ontario government approved. So that's the part where you test your languages. So having these two combinations really sets you up to just begin working, which a lot of people follow this route as opposed to getting certification, just because certification is a lot more of a lengthy process. It's a bit more of a difficult test to take. And I think that's why. So it's good to know certification is always amazing. We always want people who are certified, but you can work without having that certification. Does that answer your question, Bhaskar?
Yeah, thank you, Elena. That's
Okay.
That's very clear. Now,
Yeah.
you mentioned that so do the court systems, for example, if they employ you, they look for certification, or they don't necessarily insist on that?
Yeah, so that's a great question as well. So with court certification, it's slightly different. So some legal assignments that you might be asked to go on. So the customer themselves will say, I need a Ministry of Attorney General certified court interpreter. So if that's the case, then yes, we are looking for MAG certified court interpreters. But if it's not the case, if it's just a legal natured assignment, then we can send anyone who has testing and training on that assignment, as it does cover, the basics about legal interpretation. And as far as the way that MAG works, so MAG actually picks and chooses people to take their test. So you have to be selected by the Ministry Attorney General to actually become court certified that way. So the best thing that I can recommend if you're interested in court interpretation is start by just getting your education somewhere. If you do take an interest in legal assignments, there are many ways that you can specialize. There's courses you can go for. For example, MCIS offers an advanced court interpretation course as well, which would be really helpful if that's the direction you want to go. And then at that point, if the Ministry of Attorney General needs more people and they know that they need some from specific language sets, at that time they will choose certain individuals to take their test.
And
Thanks, Elena.
Just to add to that, with court interpretation or legal interpretation, you can work in legal interpretation in any other situation, like working with lawyers, working, with people who are being interviewed by the police, or any legal setting. You could work just after taking the MCIS interpretation. The only time that this MAG accredited interpreters are needed is for an actual court setting where a judge presides and like the person is on the victim stand. That's the only time that they would require MAG accredited, and the court would have their own accredited. But in any other situation except for that, in a legal situation, our interpretation would work absolutely fine.
Okay, thank you very much. Elena, the other question I had was, with all the machine-driven translation available today with Google, how does it impact the translation business? Is it still in demand? I know you mentioned about localization, culture aspect and things like that. Can you shed some light on that in terms of the attractiveness of that profession?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So of course, yeah, technology is really taking off. From the language service industry perspective, machine translation is a nice tool, a tool in which we use to help us move faster, to move more efficiently, to, it's not what we rely on, and it's never something that we would give to our customers and guarantee that quality. So that's good to just to note that we need people that are doing this job because, they have the sense, oh, this makes sense. The machine isn't going to do that for us. And we want the highest quality possible. And we know that's in people. And that's not something that we can find in machine translation. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Again, on behalf of Maca, thank you for your presentation. Very helpful, very informative, and very enlightening in terms of some new possibilities that exist for our job seekers. There's one question that has just come up, which is, what is the average hours per week would the freelancer get typically in terms of demand, market demand?
That's a good question. I don't know. Actually, maybe Judy might be better at answering, or Lester even might be better at answering this question than I would be.
It really depends on the language, how rare it is. Like, for instance, right now, I know because of COVID in the past year, we've moved a lot of our services from face-to-face interpretation to video and to telephone. In our top 7 languages for video and telephone today, we're noticing that we don't have enough people for 2 languages. Believe it or not, Punjabi, and the other one's Tamil. So if somebody wants to put in many hours and get on the phone and log in, if they're bored in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, to answer emergency calls, they're more than welcome to join these lines. We pay them 55 cents a minute. So if somebody sees the demands there and they need the money, anybody who's underemployed today, for instance, especially if in India you worked as a doctor, as a nurse, or a researcher, we could put you in an environment where you're dealing with medical, especially with COVID, and it's up to you. If you really are engaged and enjoying it, putting in the time, you could do 30, 50 hours a week easily. Or if it's a rare language, if we're talking about some dialects, like some African languages, those are harder. But people could do maybe 5 to 10 hours, but they could mix it around. They could do video, they could do telephone, and they could also do face-to-face interpretation. But what I ask of anyone who joins in this business is, don't just depend on us. Our competitors out there are desperate for these languages as well. So as a freelancer, go to everyone. Have a few phone lines ready to answer. And the more you want to do, the better it is. because like I said, we're paying 55 cents, which is pretty decent per minute. But if you do a scheduled telephone, or any type of video that's scheduled, we pay at least $25 an hour. And for sending messages as well. And if you really want to engage, and that language demand is there, like for Punjabi and Tamil. And by the way, whoever wins this free training, please, if you're Punjabi or Tamil, come see us, because we need you for the remote interpretation. It's really crazy with COVID, but I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And that's basically, that brings us to the end of your segment. Once again, thanks on behalf of Maca. And so with that, we have another 6 to 10 minutes probably for the open session, where we kind of kept that as a to allow any spillovers of things that we could not deal with during the 3 sessions. So any questions related to what's bothering you from your job search or settlement related matter that you would like to get some expert insights on, please feel free to open up the mic and talk, or just type it on the chat window. Many of you have basically not opened up your video. So if this is the time for you to open up the video, you have only 4 or 5 minutes to do so. So please open up the video and come out and ask any question that you have. So what questions do you have? So far, I'm just addressing the audience and the participants here. Other questions? Okay. While we are waiting for some questions, and I would like to ask the panelists, Meenakshi, JNM group, if they're still there. I think they may have left, and then yourself, Alena and Judy. So how is the job market in your view? Is it sort of, with all the COVID impact, do you see still jobs, being offers being made? What's your view? I have my own personal view as an employer myself, but generally speaking, what is sort of the trend? What do you see now?
So thanks for, sorry, can I go first?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, Bhaskaran. Yeah, it's a good question for the newcomers and the job seekers here. The job market is there. It's not that it's not there. People have been hired. People have been helping. They still have been hired in this market. In fact, even in the profession they were working in back home. So there are job openings. Of course, the industry has shifted from where the jobs were there. Like, for example, IT industry is always open, no matter, because in fact, I feel sometimes there are more jobs available. Maybe not for where they were in-person jobs, but remotely, those jobs are there. The healthcare industry is picking up. If you see, even simple healthcare industry like community health ambassadors who are going out in the community promoting. So every community agency is offering that. Apart from that, yes, the food industry has come to a halt, but e-commerce has increased. So there is a shift, but there are jobs available over there, tapping the right market, tapping the hidden market. But there are there, and anybody who's looking, please avail services which are in your area free, because that's the best way of connecting and tapping into that market.
Thank you, Meenakshi.
Definitely, there is a market there.
Yeah, thank you. That's very encouraging to hear. Alena, Judy, what do you see in the marketplace?
It's the same situation for us. It actually seems like the demand is growing like crazy, because because of COVID, all the hospitals are needing more services. Because of COVID, a lot of people are home needing services. So service providers will have to connect with them on video or on the phone. Because of COVID, all the students are at home and the parents at home, so the teachers have to connect with them. So we are doing a lot of video, a lot of telephone interpretation. So if anything, I don't want to say, but service is booming is what I would say.
I would share that comment as well. As an employer myself, we do a lot of recruitment, and we've really been recruiting left, right, and center over the last few months. Our business is doing well, and we are in professional services, consulting, audit, tax, all kinds of services. And I would say that to a point where we don't really have enough candidates in certain areas, right? We don't really, so there are some areas where the skills are rare that we don't really have the people, the roles are open for some time and we're not able to fill them. So that's certainly a good indication. Of course, it could be that there are lots of pockets where there's demand. To your point, Meenakshi, I think you made as well. I think there are other pockets where there's a general pocket where there may be a lesser demand, but I think it's important for job seekers to kind of pivot on the opportunities that exist and try to retool themselves and be more relevant to the marketplace, as opposed to saying that I want to do only this and keep trying for it and not get anywhere. So I think that's one thing I encourage a lot of the job seekers in terms of having that flexibility and nimbleness to really react to what the market forces are and be creative about it. Like, be more open to education, more open to acquiring additional skills so that you can actually keep moving as opposed to getting stagnant. And that's important to keep the energy level and confidence very high. So I think one of our participants is basically he's shared some things in terms of thank you very much, Subbu, for offering that. Yeah, it's important to learn from people who have been successful at getting their first job, to learn from what they went through and what are the lessons learned. So, Vasan, with that, we come to the formal. Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello, sir. This is Charu. I just have a question regarding the last conversation, with Judy, I guess. With MCIS. So, since it's a freelancer work, would that work require more than 2 hours? Would demand more than 2 hours a day work, or is it does it require 7 to 8 hours work of effort of work, or how is it? Can that be taken as a second career, or second job, or I just want to know about that.
So the good thing about interpretation is, in translation, you can choose. Some people only give 2-3 hours to interpretation and translation, and for some people it's a full-time job. However, that being said, it all depends on what language you speak. So if you're speaking one of the top 10 languages, chances are you can make it almost a full-time work, as long as you don't just work for one agency, because you're a freelance worker and no one can really guarantee you this many hours a day or this many hours a week. But if you are registered with different agencies, there's a very good chance that you will have a good amount of work if you speak one of the top languages. If you speak rare languages, like what would, I can't even think of it now. Let's say, can Alana help? I can't think of a rare language, but if you speak Arabic, Mandarin, Cantonese, Farsi, Tamil, Punjabi, French, those languages will keep you, Spanish will keep you really busy. If you speak languages outside of the top ones, then you really have to be really active, engage with different organizations, maybe work in translation and interpretation in order to be busy. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judy. Thanks for that.
Thank you. So unless there are any other questions that someone wants to ask, I think we've come to the end of our formal session that we planned today. I'm now giving the floor back to Mr. Vasan for any concluding remarks. Back to you, Vasan. Thank you.
Yeah, I really thank on this occasion all the three great organizations, and Meenakshi Krishnan, Matangi, Nischal, and special thanks to Lester, and a wonderful speech by Alana, and excellent answering by Judy. And the whole session, I'm sure, will be very helpful for all the job seekers and even those people who are already employed and looking for a second job. I think this workshop will be really beneficial. And once again, I thank all of you, and I especially thank all the participants who participated in today. For some reason, there were a lot of absentees, but nevertheless, with our Facebook, we will be, it will be on for next few days for the benefit of our community, so that people can really reach out. And to give the And as Alana was mentioning, I would like all the participants to avail the special offer given by them. It's really a very generous offer, I should say, where the value is more than $2,500. So if any participants are interested, please email to us, and we will forward that to MCIS. And they have a special way of selecting the lucky 6 people to give this offer. Thanks again to all of you for this wonderful workshop. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great evening. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to add something before everybody goes away. I just wanted to say, anybody who wants to keep up to date with what's happening with the newcomer services, employment workshops, what we're having, we are on all the social media pages, and we also have a Facebook page, Indus Newcomer Services, where all our upcoming events, upcoming job fairs, everything is posted on a regular basis. So you can just keep in touch on Facebook, on any social media, LinkedIn, everything, especially when you're looking for job or settlement services. So thank you. And we speak all languages, Punjabi and Tamil. I speak both, Punjabi and Tamil.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.